You're listening to Extra Time, driven by Continental.
TMZ, oh my goodness.
I mean, what are we doing here?
I think he's the philosopher of football.
It's great that everyone can give their opinion.
Absolutely ridiculous.
Find me. Find me. I don't care anymore. So drain my bank account.
Everybody up here, every single day, goes into the office, into the laboratory, to try to cook up some great stuff for you guys.
That's why he's here.
Oh, from New York, you are listening to Extra Time, driven by Continental on MLSsoccer.com from the MLS studios in Midtown Manhattan. I am Andrew Wheat with my partners in soccer, Matt Doyle, David Goss, Bobby Warshaw. We gave Kalen Carr the call up. He had to deny it. Didn't want to come on trial. Said, look, give me a contract or nothing.
So he's saying club soccer matters more than his national team.
Wow.
It's like Danny Pena,
yeah,
circa 1998.
Look, he's got to do what's best for his family, does Kalen Carr. So Susannah Collins, she changed the mix on Thursday. We enjoyed that. Apparently, our listeners enjoyed that too. We'll talk about that in the mailbag.
I'm sure everyone's real excited to see Doyle back.
We had one person that wanted you back. Just one. He was very insistent.
I have my fans.
Yeah. And your burners.
His name was Matt Doyle.
And your burners. Look, big show coming up for you today. We have two great guests. Francisco Calvo of unbeaten on the road in the Western Conference, Minnesota United. That is history. That has never happened, them winning on the road in the Western Conference. And they've now done it twice. He'll be on to talk about RESPECT, of course, Costa Rica, Darwin Quintero, Ike Para, Ozzy Alonso, everything in between. Kenny Saief, here to give us all his hummus takes. Dave?
It wasn't that hot, but I think we bonded.
Yeah.
I think there's something there that's burgeoning, and it's just that classic, professional soccer player, guy who sits around and talks. One's a really good-looking professional athlete. The other one's me, and we just bond. It's a buddy cop show.
It is. He will
probably Netflix.
Yeah, we'll get that on the production schedule for later this year. He's, of course, the guy who set up the game-tying goal for FC Cincinnati, Atlanta United.
Felt like a game-winning goal.
Yeah, it did. Felt like a loss for Atlanta. We will, of course, talk about Week 2. We have the mailbag coming up, 401-2060-MLS. Let's get right into it, and let's introduce the Atlanta United panic meter, which is fluctuating wildly in one direction right now, and that is directly toward panic because they drew against FC Cincinnati at home in their first home game of the MLS season. Of course, they had a home game,
final game of the
CCL.
Season's over now.
Season's done and dusted.
That was the only moment that mattered in 2019.
Should we dig into the replies to the tweet that Atlanta United put out after this? I was going to say loss, but again, it was a draw. The first one just starts this way. I'm honestly piping with rage. I threw my coffee mug across the room in a whirlwind of fury. Dogs are barking.
That's a fake account.
Yeah, it is. It is De Boer must go. That's that Twitter account. But it gets even better as you continue down. Losing or drawing is fine, says Cole Hodges. Watching paint dry style of soccer is not. Went from Tata to Almiron to FDB and Breck Shea, and it shows. A lot of Frank De Boer out here.
Sick of this season already. This is going to be a horrible and awful season.
Yeah, the panic meter is it's slamming. They just drew. And they might go out of the Concacaf Champions League Wednesday night. Tigres come to town.
They've won once out of 5 games.
Okay.
So far.
All right.
They've only looked fun once in 5 games.
Our Atlanta fans, and by the way, this is
they were fun against Herediano.
But they are
like one.
They're like battling internally right now. Those who are making jokes about it, Jay Riddle's getting,
Shout out, Jay.
Yeah, what's up, Jay? I mean, he's having a tough time out there. Everybody in the Atlanta fan sphere is having a tough time. And it seems overblown, maybe. Seems a little early. No?
You want me to comment on that first?
I don't know. I mean,
should I jump into the firing line?
We had a lot of takes in the green room.
Did I? Yeah, I guess I did.
Yeah, you did.
I think all of it's overblown. Okay, one is it's the beginning of the season. Miguel Almiron's your best player. He's gone. So whether it was Tata Martino or Frank De Boer or Matt Doyle coaching this team, it was always going to be tough in the beginning. 2 is you lost at Monterrey. So welcome to being every other professional soccer team in the world. You come out and you play poorly here in the second half, but you won MLS Cup as a counterattacking team last year. No team was going to let you play that way against them this year. So you were always going to have to change that. You've got a new coach. He's been with the team for a few weeks. You've had injuries to key positions, or at least injuries in spots that have clearly hurt you so far at the fullback position, wherever else. There's a lot going on, none of it means the world is ending. And the reaction has been completely that the world is ending. And it is ridiculous. Welcome to Major League Soccer. My point in the green room was you watched one bad soccer game. I used to go drive out to watch Sire Sen play for like 3 years. Welcome to MLS.
They've watched 4 bad soccer games.
Cool.
The first leg against Herediano, the game against DC United, the first leg against Monterrey, and then this game. It was a bad soccer game. They generated less than one expected goal against a Cincinnati team that still defends inexplicably high and allows passes like the one that Gressel sent to Joseph Martinez, and then they never did that again. Like this, it hasn't been. And to your point about no one's going to let them counterattack their way to MLS Cup like they did last year. That's fine, but they were a possession team. They were arguably the league's best possession team, en route to 69 points, a really nice season in 2018. They didn't need to change the formation.
That's including, by the way, losing the Supporters' Shield on the last day against a team that didn't make the playoffs.
Against the team. All right, so they lost the Supporters' Shield on the last day without their best player, Miguel Almiron. Okay? Like, they still ended up with 69 points. This is the second highest total in league history. So they didn't need to. Frank de Boer didn't need to come in there and break everything in order to fix it. He didn't. Eric Remedi as your creative hub in a box-to-box role instead of sitting in front of the back line, which is what he did last year, doesn't need to happen. Breck Shea banging in 20 crosses a game doesn't need to happen. Frank de Boer's done a lousy job this first month.
We will get to Frank de Boer's quote in just a second. I just want to point out for Atlanta fans who may be listening that you need to understand the way other supporters and other observers around the league might feel when you go through a rough patch. They might be happy about it because they might have experienced a lot of rough passes. Not at 70,000, not won MLS Cups. I mean, what they've done in 2 years is incredible. Hold your horses. I know you have high expectations, but wow. Now, the problem is Frank de Boer got in front of the mic after this game, and he kind of riled folks up again. Let's listen to what he had to say.
Coach, I know it's only 5 games in, but you obviously kind of wanted a stronger start. How is this weighing on you? I'm just personally and some of the criticism and such already.
Yeah, but of course they were a little bit spoiled with the results, of course, of last season. Everybody expected, and that's also normal. But everybody also saw what happened with Toronto when they played the Champions League last season, and out of nothing we weren't used to play every 3 games, and so every 3 days a game, and now I think in 17 days we play 5 games or something like that. Yeah, that's a lot.
It is spoiled. That's the word that got a lot of Atlanta fans riled up, Bobby. When he said that, when you watch that, what do you feel? Now, I think part of it, Frank de Boer's delivery is so kind of deadpan, and I want to say very Dutch, but I'm not exactly an expert on what does and does not denote something that is Dutch. But
no, it's hard. It's dangerous to hold athletes accountable in their second language, right? We don't know if he has the exact definition of spoiled, and we should point that out. With that noted, not the optimal word choice to use for your fan base. And what I want to point out about the fan base, too, in regards to the booing at the end, I never want to see professional athletes get booed. I've been booed off the field. It sucks. That probably comes as a surprise to no one, so thanks for that. But it sucks. On the flip side, I appreciate Atlanta United fans holding themselves and their team to a high standard. They act on Twitter and everywhere as if they are the best. So good for you for maintaining that. Good for you for not balking out when things go poorly and making excuses. You're going to hold this team to a standard of trophies. I think that's good for you guys. That's good for the league. And I appreciate them having that mentality.
And I have to pick, I agree with what Bobby just said, and I have to pick on Frank de Boer a little bit more about, we had 5 games in 17 days. It's a lot. Toronto FC, we saw what happened to them in Champions League last year. We also saw what happened to the Red Bulls last year in Champions League.
And before we even get there, can I just say that Toronto FC beat Tigres and Club America. So you're nowhere close to what Toronto FC went through. You have done nothing that Toronto FC did apart from get through that round of 16, which, by the way, you almost lost.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm just saying.
No, you're absolutely right. And it's, look, he's been hesitant, negligent, really, in rotating the squad. That's why a lot of them look dead. They have not pushed through, as you said, to a run close to what the Red Bulls did, let alone what Toronto did. So it felt like a lot of excuses, and as Bobby said, not an optimal word choice.
Don't just take our word for it, though. Let's go to Jason at Home Sweet Soccer here. Do you want to know what's wrong with Atlanta? Here you go. Frank de Boer is playing a system that is A, not working, and B, one, the players are not getting behind. Play is too slow. He does not have the personnel to use it against talented teams. He's starting Breck and Ambrose against Monterrey and stays stubborn to it by making ridiculous decisions like playing Parkhurst wide. You can look at the team's body language and see they're not happy, and this is where it's really going to get chaotic. After blaming the fan base and calling them spoiled on Sunday, I truly think Frank is approaching it all wrong. As a coach, your job is to put the team in the best position to win. If your style and system is not that, then you need to change it. If this continues, I'll make a guarantee that the locker room will be divided, and if Atlanta is not top 4 come this summer, Joseph will want out. It'll be pure pandemonium. Team is too talented to allow Cincy back in the game, and there's no way both Joseph and Frank can stay around together if this continues. Maybe Nagby knew what was coming, and that's what he was doing this summer.
Wow.
Ooh, Jason.
Okay, dang.
If you are talking about Atlanta United's tactics, you are talking about the wrong thing. And I am tired of hearing people talk about the formation, talk about the positioning, talking about the way the personnel is used. Because for one, these are still really weird games. For two, they're still figuring out the team and the system. There are problems with Atlanta United. Their philosophy is changing. The mentality is changing. The culture from Tata Martino, an Argentine coach, to Frank de Boer, a Dutch coach, is huge. All of these things matter. They are all exponentially more important than the tactics. I'm getting riled up now because I've seen nothing but people talking about the position of players and the tactics. It's so small and insignificant. But where Parkhurst plays, PT's positioning, they're so much larger.
Parkhurst was literally at fault on the goal because he didn't act like a right center back. He acted like the middle of the back three. He pinches, like, he's a 35-year-old veteran who was playing out of position, and it absolutely showed on the game-changing play.
Is Michael Parkhurst, or is he not, one of the best, if not the best, passing center back in this league?
He's up there, yeah.
Which of the 3 center back positions requires more passing? Is it the central one or the outside one? Listen, it might not have been the exact right move, but to say it's a bad move or a dumb move or it doesn't make any sense is just downright wrong and disingenuous. Playing Parkhurst on the right makes plenty of sense, and it just hasn't worked out so far.
Okay, how about this side of it?
You lose Almiron. Spoiled, Doyle.
Yeah, you're spoiled, definitely. He is spoiled, we know that. But P.T. Martinez, haven't seen the best of him. Certainly not has been Almiron-esque. Barquito, Ezequiel Barco. My guarantee stands. I'm still praying for 20-plus, goals plus assists. But there's a disconnect here. Like within the team. I know you say tactics doesn't matter, Bobby, but it doesn't look like the team that was flowing and connected and understood roles. And I know change is inevitable and they'll have to push through this little, period of change and of adversity. But why does it not, with those talented players, then why doesn't it look like even anywhere close to last year or even close to like a good, competent MLS team, top of the table?
When we're talking about the game being slow, that is not a tactical choice. That is an overall, stylistically, how do you approach the game? The game was slow because they made safe passes all over the field. That's not about where players are stationed. That's not about the movement of players. That is about how do you view the game and how much risk are you willing to take per pass, right? That's so much higher level in terms of the way you view your team and the way you set up your game plan than anything with specific spots on the field. And that's what they have to figure out. When they figure out how to make their decision-making and what kind of possession team they want to be, then the other things will fall into place. And you don't want to tackle Z when A is really the thing that'll get Z in line.
They will be much more comfortable making those types of meaningful passes if guys were in their natural roles. If the tactics and the formation that Frank de Boer was choosing were actually suited to guys like Remedi or Joseph Martinez, who was dropping 40, 50 yards from goal to try to be a focal point in build-up play because nobody was getting between the lines. This is Joseph Martinez, the ultimate fox-in-the-box type of striker in this league. Minimal hold-up play from him. And De Boer's choices are dragging him further away from goal and asking Barco to fill that role where he's supposed to make north-south runs and be dangerous. And Barco doesn't run north-south. So I get what you're saying. Culture is the most important thing, and Frank de Boer has come in with the idea that he needs to change the culture of this fun, fast, exciting, winning team. But that doesn't mean tactics and formation don't matter. They absolutely do matter, and there is no better example of it than the goal FC Cincinnati scored.
Tactics and formation matter. They're just very far down the list right now. And I actually want to touch on the culture thing, right? Because it is important and it is big. It's not that Frank de Boer felt he needed to change the culture. But when you go in as a head coach, you have so much responsibility. That job is so hard that you instill the culture that fits you and your personality best. This wasn't Frank de Boer coming in and trying necessarily improve or fix anything they had before. He was just doing what fits him as a person and his staff. And that's important to remember.
Also, Darren Eales came and got Frank de Boer. The guy said he didn't really watch MLS. He didn't come in for this job. They went and found him, which means they wanted what he provided. He's not coming in and saying, oh, no, sorry, I don't know what you wanted. This is how I do it. This is exactly what Atlanta United as a front office and as a franchise and as a club, whatever we call them, went out to find. So it's his job to do exactly what he was hired to do. Tata Martino came in and wanted this job, right? And he presented them with a plan, but he wanted to be there, and he wanted to be there, and he wanted to win. Frank de Boer, they came and found him. They know exactly what he stands for. He has stood for it his entire career. Darren Eales mentioned interviewing him in person, didn't hire him, but knew exactly what he was going to say in an interview. So this is what he got.
All right, Atlanta fans, have your say. 401-206-0MLS. That's a hot take hotline. Extra time at MLSsoccer.com. I am sure that on Thursday we will be talking.
I just want one last note.
Jump in.
Frank de Boer complaining about the team having too many games in too short a time. Tito Villalba's played 1 minute in the last 2 games. Rotate your squad. Rotate your squad.
Give me the FC Cincinnati side. I feel like we've given them short shrift. This is a historic, special night and an amazing result for them. Away to the defending champions in their home opener in the league to get a draw, to have this moment at the end. I'm sure Kenny Saief, will share some details with us. Bobby, what's the big picture here for Cincinnati?
Coming out of the first game, they were just too stretched. They tried to have a high line of confrontation against Seattle. It left gaps in between the lines, but most importantly, it left the 2 center backs, Kendall Waston and Nick Hagelin, with too much ground to cover. They're not guys that can do that. They're fantastic in the air. Cincinnati comes out against Atlanta. They give up the goal in the 5th minute. Once again, high line both with the strikers and the center backs. Gressel plays a phenomenal ball to Joseph Martinez behind the back 4. What does Cincinnati do? They drop all 3 of their lines, their entire block, 15 yards. And yes, Atlanta United was stagnant. A large part of that was that Cincinnati locked down the middle and made Atlanta United go around. It's not like Atlanta United drew up in their game plan, let's cross it 22 times. That was Cincinnati being sharp in the middle of the field and pushing them there, which is exactly how Cincinnati should set up their game plan. I dare you to cross the ball into Nick Hagelin and Kendall Waston, and then we're going to wait for chances on the break as they got and set pieces. For me, guys, the perfect template for FC Cincinnati, and they deserve a ton of credit.
Kenny Saief is going to change his team a little bit as well. You saw that ball. We will talk to him in the second segment.
And I just say, last show, you were like, well, what do they do? And I was like, well, it's smart. They came out. They lost by a lot against Seattle. All you can do is improve. Alan Koch's first comment post-game was like, well, I thought we showed improvement. Well, you lost 4-1 at Seattle.
All right. There you go.
I agree with you, Alan.
There's your pat on the back.
I'm just saying, it's genius. He's playing third dimension chess. Bobby's over here playing checkers.
All right. Well, Bob Bradley wants Carlos Vela to be Lionel Messi. We saw that on the We Are LAFC documentary, which if you haven't streamed or binged or whatever yet on ESPN Plus, you should absolutely do that. It is so interesting. He kind of was against the Portland Timbers, 4-1 winners, LAFC at home. They are one of 3 perfect teams in Major League Soccer, along with the Seattle Sounders and Minnesota United. Yeah, again, I have to repeat that. Minnesota United. This is the Carlos Vela that we want. This is the Carlos Vela that we want to watch. This is the Carlos Vela that they want to pay many millions of dollars to see perform in this way.
That captain's my fantasy.
Yes, that one as well.
Congratulations.
Is this Lionel Messi-esque? What was Bob Bradley saying when he said that? And was it literal, or was maybe we going too far when we quote him on that?
Yeah, Andrew, we need to qualify that, because the idea that Bob Bradley says Carlos Vela can be Messi is a sexy headline, and it gets people to watch the documentary on ESPN Plus. That's not really what he said. He said that it's his job as a manager to set the bar that high. That it's his job to push Carlos Vela to be the best version of himself that he can be, and maybe that gets close to Lionel Messi. And those are 2 really important things, because this wasn't Bob Bradley making the audacious statement that Vela is Messi. It was, as a manager, my job is to make that bar high for you and give you a chance to meet it. And when we see Vela meet it, he's pretty incredible.
Kind of Busquets-esque from Mark Anthony Kaye, no? A little bit of set piece, a little nice header to the back post.
I would say that Mark Anthony Kaye is more of the Vidal of that midfield, and my guy Edward Atuesta,
who had skills on.
Yeah,
last night.
Yeah, Atuesta, man, he can
play.
He can pass
the
the ball.
Busquets.
Yeah, he's good. He's good. Luchi Gonzalez, congratulations to him. He got his first professional win, Doyle. We are big fans of Luchi. We know him well from Generation Adidas Cup, from just sitting down with him, chatting with him when he was in a little bit less of a high-pressure position. Mm-hmm. I loved his speech to the team afterwards. He got the game ball as well. Dallas looked different, and at least in this game against the Galaxy, it worked. 2-0 winners.
Yeah, they held the ball. And, like, once they went up 2-0, they weren't killing off the game by putting men behind the ball and saying, we're going to use our speed to kill you on the counter, which is what Oscar Pareja's teams always did. Instead, they said, we're going to just pass around and through and kill you with our skill. And they did it, man.
Matt, I can't think of another team in MLS history that's killed off games like that. I mean, seriously, has there been another team that didn't just sub in a defensive midfielder for a striker, put numbers behind the ball, and wait to use their pace in the break? Has anybody killed it off through possession?
RSL in their heyday definitely did that. And I think you could honestly say those great Dom Kinnear teams in San Jose and then Houston did a bit of that. But no, it's not something we've seen a lot of. I think Luchi Gonzalez seems committed to it. I think Peter Vermees is committed to it this year as well. It's nice because it gives every game a little bit of a different feel. We're kind of all over the place in styles and approaches and formations as well. I would be super stoked if I was an FC. I might be an FC Dallas fan. I was super stoked.
Again, with Dallas, if you get some finishes from the forward, Baji in this game kind of.
I'm still in on my guarantee. I believe
you got to stick to those guarantees. Do not hesitate. But they got their goals. Brian Acosta, Paxton Pomykal had a nice game. They got the PK. Rito Ziegler's probably the best MLS fantasy player there is because shutouts plus goals from a center back, that's pretty good. I had him, by the way. And then Efra Alvarez. If you
had him by accident. You didn't actually pick him. You had accidentally left him in, Andrew.
Yeah, you know, good management doesn't need to be explained, okay? Sometimes things just fall into place for you. And if you have not seen Efra Alvarez put Matt Hedges 6 feet under at the end of this game, you absolutely should. Megs him. Great save by Jesse Gonzalez, but a big, big result for FC Dallas. 2-0 winners. Before we get out of here, you might have missed it. Let's run around the league a little bit. What's something that people need to know that they might have missed or not be thinking about or maybe flew underneath the headline that was the Atlanta United panic meter, Bobby?
I'm going to go with NYCFC. They drew at home against DC United. It wasn't a gorgeous game, but guys, when I watch this NYCFC team through these first 2 weeks, I see really special moments at times with the front five really adding Alex Ring into the attacking core, the interchanging, flowing movements. Yeah, they haven't scored a ton of goals because they kind of run into each other a ton of time within that unpredictability, but it feels to me if they can figure it out, they could be a really dangerous team.
They need a 9. I think they do need to go out and get a true center forward, and I'm with Bobby. I thought this was one of the best performances that they've had under Dome Torrent.
This was one we had on the rundown. I think you had is Philly in trouble? So I'm reacting to that by saying no. You watched this game against Sporting KC. I thought they were the better team the first 35 minutes. I thought they pressured SKC into some bad positions where they were uncomfortable, mainly forcing that ball at Sinovic a lot. Ili Sanchez and Melia struggling to pass out of the back. And then Trusty falls asleep and has a huge error on a play. They didn't even score on that play. It ends up being a penalty, but a soft one. Now you're down 1-0, but I think Philly's starting to feel more comfortable in that position in the press a little bit. And what I like about them is Medunian and Fabian don't run into each other. They both have their lines where they create.
Yeah, and Fabian just runs into the...
Fair, but he created chances he should have scored in the 10th, 15th minute. Medunian sits deeper. If you play off him, he creates. If you play tight on him, he plays into Fabian, who now has space to create because you have your numbers pushed higher. So if I'm a Philly fan, don't panic. If you didn't watch this game and you just see, of course, SKC win 2-0 at home, it wasn't as clear as that.
Maybe you're just looking at the stats, perhaps.
Exactly.
By the way, the losing hat trick for the Union, you've got the missed PK, the red card, both thanks to Marco Fabian, and then the own goal. So that was not a great one.
The Union actually lead the league in expected goals through 2 weeks. They have 1 goal on about 5 expected goals, which is on pace to be much worse than last year.
What's your observation, Doyle? What do people need to know?
The Sounders are good. The Sounders have realized for the first time in like half a decade that you can actually play soccer before the month of July.
Works out. Yeah. Raul Ruiz from the start. Don't have to have that savior midsummer. You've got your 2 core pieces already in place. Everybody knows Christian Roldan, new contract, happy. It's working really well for the Sounders.
And they're actually doing some interesting stuff as well with Gustav Svensson dropping deep, splitting the defenders. Both fullbacks fly forward. You can see it on the first goal. It's Brad Smith, the left back, all the way at the end line, putting the ball across, and it's Kelvin Leerdam, the right back, finishing it. It leaves Christian Roldan all on his own in central midfield. He's been up to it for two games.
I dropped Leerdam, Bobby, just in case you were going to throw that at me. I dropped.
You dropped him intentionally.
That was when I did intentionally.
You kept Rito Ziegler accidentally.
Yeah, exactly.
Just making sure.
Yeah.
I just want to quickly point out about the Sounders outside backs. My favorite part is they get the ball running forward. They get the ball, and I know it sounds like a small thing, but think about when you see outside backs get the ball. It's so often on the touchline waiting to receive it. These guys get it at full pace, and when I think about the resemblance, it's Liverpool at their best. When they have Sadio Mane or Robertson or Alexander Arnold, one of these guys flying forward. So I think that's the most dangerous part about this team right now.
Mbum Wang, if you're not watching the Whitecaps, which you might not be, it's a new team. They've had a slow start. They lost this week in RSL on a phantom PK call. But if you're not watching this guy, ESPN Plus probably your spot if you're in the States. You got to do it because he is crazy skilled. He's audacious. He's trying things both on the pass and on the shot that I haven't seen really from a Whitecaps midfielder in a long time.
Maybe Pedro Morales.
Pedro Morales that first year.
Way back. Maybe Cumiento? Can I throw out David? Yeah, dude. He was good, too.
It's Mbum looks like a two-way player.
Yeah.
You could see why there was significant Bundesliga interest for this. I would really enjoy him in 2019 if I was a Caps fan. I don't think he's going to be here that long.
He just got called up for Korea. The other thing I love about him, he's demonstrative on the field. When you watch him play, you see emotion, you see like this bite, this desire that I think is going to be really good for that team as they try to find their footing. Before we get out of here and go to the interviews here, Francisco Calvo and Kenny Saief coming up. Concacaf Champions League, we are the high priests of CCL fever, and we shall not omit that or lose that from our sermon right now. We got to stick with it. 4 games, second legs.
Only have 1 week left.
This might be it. 4 games, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. 2 games on Tuesday. Red Bulls and Houston, both on the road to Liga MX sides. Atlanta hosting Monterrey on Wednesday. Sporting KC Kai on Thursday. Is that our last hope, Dave? Is Sporting KC the hope?
It is it's the last hope. I didn't want to say it, whatever, but it is. And we talked about it last week. I feel pretty comfortable if you're SKC. You're going home. You know you're going to have a good crowd. The field has been great for you, so you don't have to worry about that, what Toronto FC had to deal with at home. You're a possession-based team who can pull this team around, and we saw what Toronto was able to do with half their lineup in terms of creating opportunities, finding space in the attacking third. And so if you play a solid game here, you're going to go through. So if you're SKC or if you're an MLS fan who's hoping for one hope, I think you're safe.
Thursday, 8 p.m. Eastern, of course, Univision Deportes, as well as Yahoo Sports. Bobby, Red Bulls fans are out there, Houston Dynamo fans are out there saying, dang, give up on us already? That's messed up.
I just want to point out what an excellent week the Dynamo had. They go into Rio Tinto and get a point, which is a really hard thing to do. Then they stick with Tigres for 80-plus minutes, and then they get a win at home at the end against Montreal. Any 3 of those on their own would be good results. You put them all into a single week, a sprint of a week, and my hat goes off to...
They're doing it without Cabezas, who's hurt already. So it has been, I think, an encouraging week for the Dynamo, but they have no chance.
2 El Volcan, down 2-0.
I actually think the Red Bulls... it's not a good chance. It's like 10% or less, but I'm really interested to see what the Red Bulls look like when it's like, all right, we got nothing left to lose. Let's just go out and do what we can do. Because they were the better team than Santos for most of that game. They just didn't finish their chances. Pressure's off now. Everybody treats the series is over, the Red Bulls are out. I want to see how they play if they play free. Played
pretty well in Tijuana. 9-1 was the aggregate score. MLS on the losing end of that in the first leg of the quarterfinals. We'll see if they can reverse that. All the coverage at MLSsoccer.com. Go watch Kings of CONCACAF on YouTube since you're already here. If you're watching Extra Time driven by Continental, we're going to the break. On the other side, Francisco Calvo and Kenny Saief.
Are you watching the games or just looking at the stats? Email the show at Extratime at MLSsoccer.com, tweet at Extratime, or text the Hot Take Hotline with any questions or reactions.
I've said this before, and I don't wish this to be disrespect to anybody, but we've got a team now that's comparable with a lot of teams. We haven't had that in the past. Suddenly people think, well, he knows what he's doing. Well, I've always known what I was doing, but when you go on the field and the opposition's got a better team than you 9 times out of 10, it normally comes through. Now we've got a team that can compete.
Back now in Extra Time, driven by Continental. Coming off that Adrian Heath quote, which was, it was fire. I got to admit, we're going right in for an interview with Francisco Calvo, the defender from the Loons. Francisco, 2 away games in the Western Conference, 2 wins. That is historic for Minnesota United. How does it feel to be at the top of the table?
Yeah, hello, first of all. And then, it's a story for our club. It's the first 2 away games we win ever. And, I mean, it feels good. Feels good because the team is feeling, the atmosphere is so different. Everything feels different. So now we're just worried about playing football, enjoy, and the good thing is that we're winning, but we're winning playing well. So that's the good thing.
Darwin Quintero, we'll get to him. Michael Parra, Ozzy Alonso, big changes for this team. We came off a quote into this interview from Adrian Heath after the match, and he was basically saying in years 1 and 2 that you guys just didn't have good enough players, that you couldn't compete with the other teams around the league. Do you agree with that take from your coach?
In the past, yes. In the past, I agree. Maybe the team wasn't competitive at all. So that's what happened the past 2 years, and now everything is looking different. Everything is looking different because we have good players. How you just say, Ike, Ossi, Jan, and also the other guys, the guys who come with the team from last year or from the first year. I don't know, but how I say, everything is looking different. Everybody is playing good football, defending well. So that's what we need. That's what we need, confidence, and we're showing that we can compete against any team in this league. I always say that to the boys. And now we have 3 more finals away. We passed 2, and then we have 3 more.
We'll talk about some of the new pieces soon, but Darwin Quintero joined the team in the middle of last year. We saw what he could do. He's been one of the guys that's led you so far this season. What's his impact like on this team?
Well, Darwin is one of the most important players in this league for me. I think he has too much quality. He's really smart. He's just a really important piece for us. And I think last year, he did good things, but I think this year he's going to do more good things than last year because, how I say, the team is enjoying how we are playing. So we're playing good with the ball, we're touching with the ball, and then that's the kind of guy who needs the ball on your feet, in your feet. So he's gonna be doing good and big things for us this year.
You can see how happy he is with those celebrations. He's having a good time out there. I have to imagine Iko Parra and Ozzy Alonso are feeling pretty good as well. They took a little bit of a chance coming from teams that were in that upper echelon in the Western Conference to Minnesota United. How have they helped change this back line, the foundation on which everything is built?
Well, I don't think it's a big chance that they took. I think they won a new challenge, and this club is growing a lot. And I've been telling a lot of people that this club is gonna be big enough in this league pretty soon. Pretty soon it's gonna be big enough. We're gonna have the best stadium of soccer, of football in this league that we opened April 13th. So I think they're really important for us too, and they've been showing in those 2 games and during all preseason what they can do for the team, and same thing they're gonna help us a lot.
Francisco, you've had some tough times over the years, but you just mentioned your belief in this club. Had you thought about at any point over the last 2.5 years of leaving, of going somewhere else?
Well, to be honest, in the beginning of the first year, I was a little bit frustrated, yes, because I came from a team, Saprissa, who the most of the time win everything. So for me, it was tough. For example, in the first 2 games, received 11 goals, never happened in my life. So I was frustrated the first year. The second year, I thought it was be better, but happened that we couldn't get into playoffs. We were close at some point, but then we get out. And then I think this year could be our year. We don't have to even rush because it's only 2 games, but if we keep playing how we are playing, we can beat anything in this league. I always say that. And then about leaving, my present is Minnesota. And then if I got a chance to leave, and the club is happy with the offer, and I'm happy with the opportunity, probably I'm gonna leave. But if not, I'm gonna stay here.
Can I ask you, Francisco, to take us back to last year? And we on this show talked about it a good bit, about your comments about respect. And you seem to be sort of challenging observers out there who saw this team and had something to say to maybe re-examine their thoughts. Where were you at that time when you made those statements in the media? What were you trying to say?
About respect from
yeah.
I just want respect for Minnesota. I mean, I think sometimes it's weird because I think the league sometimes talks just about, I don't know, let's say Los Angeles Galaxy, LAFC, Atlanta, Seattle, because maybe they have more time in the league, maybe they have really good players, and maybe last year we haven't. So I felt like they don't have respect enough for our club. And now they're showing different things, I don't know why. It's weird, but they're showing different things. That's what I feel so far. But I think we have to earn that too. I think we got to earn that respect. Winning games, winning and beating good things, and we're gonna have the respect that we want.
We're raising our hands right now, by the way, Francisco, because you're speaking to the choir here. So I just want to tell you, we hear you loud and clear, and we'll try to bring that as well.
All right, thank you. Well, that's not my point to fight with anybody. I just want respect for this team because, how I say, our organization is doing good things. We're showing with the stadium that we built, and how I said, we're gonna do good things in this club. I don't know if it's gonna be this year. Hope yes. I hope so, yes. But if not, soon this thing is gonna be really big.
You mentioned, though, the stadium over and over again. We've only seen pictures from the outside. You've gotten the tours. You've been around it. What are you excited about? Take us inside the experience as a player as this thing's getting finished.
It's going to be awesome. I think the stadium is not huge, but how I said, maybe some people thought like, oh, Atlanta is the best stadium. No. For me, that stadium is football. It's American football. They play soccer there, but it's an American football stadium. In soccer stadium, Allianz Field is going to be the best by far. They just put too much quality in that stadium. Inside is awesome. You can have a nice view from everywhere on the stadium to watch our games, and then the field is going to be a really good field.
You got to be happy about getting on that grass field as well. Yeah, like what's the best part for a player? Is it the field? Is it the locker rooms? Is there an amenity that we're not thinking about? Yeah, what's the best thing for you as a player?
I think the field. And more for us because we've been playing in turf for 2 years at TCF. So you as a player, you always want to play in grass. And I think the field, the locker room, to be honest, I haven't seen there yet. I saw the locker room, but it wasn't finished. I think, I don't know if this week we're going to have the tour and watch the stadium finish at all. But I saw the field, and the field is going to be nice. So I think the atmosphere is going to be nice too, and know that we sell all the tickets for a year. That's good too.
We can hear how excited you are, this new lease on life, but we're seeing it also on the field. With Iko Para, you've slid out to left back, and you've been flying forward all season, playing some of the best soccer we've seen so far in MLS. Is this the best Francisco Calvo at that position, playing in this style?
Well, I think I mean, in my personal opinion, I'm enjoying more the game. At some point, I didn't really want to play there because I'm still thinking that I'm more in the middle than a left back. But then I just say, okay, let's try to help my team over there as a left back. Let's try to do it well, and then that's what I'm doing. Just trying to bring my best. Try to bring my best to help the team and to enjoy my game. I think if you enjoy what you do, you're gonna do good things.
Before we let you go here, Francisco, we got one more question for you. It's a Gold Cup year. The Hex starts this year. World Cup qualifying starts this year. Costa Rica, the state of the national team, where you stand, what your ambitions are. What are you dreaming about right now?
Well, first, we need to first think in the Gold Cup. Gold Cup is first. We want to win the Gold Cup for sure. I think we have a good enough national team a good enough players to win that tournament. And that's our main goal this year, and then start the qualification games for the World Cup, right? Because of course Costa Rica wants to be in the next World Cup. So I think with the new coach, we're gonna have a good idea, because I've been with him when we played US in the beginning of this year. I think he has a really good idea, and with the players that we are, and the players, and with the players that we have, I think we're gonna do it really well.
Pura Vida, a new lease on life in Minnesota. Francisco Calvo of the Loons. Francisco, thank you so much for joining us, man. I will see you on April 13th, by the way, at the new stadium. I cannot wait to be there and see you guys usher that thing in. Thank you for joining us on Extra Time.
All right, thank you. Pura Vida. Bye-bye.
Love little Francisco Calvo. Some honesty, and it's easy right now to be happy if you're a Loons fan. This is history. This is something you've never done. It's the foundation of what you hope would be a special season, what Adrian Heath and Manny Lagos do, because it's year 3 of that plan. What's going right for them, and should there be any trepidation about getting a little too high?
I mean, year 3 of the plan was apparently sign the best defensive midfielder in MLS history and one of the best center backs of this decade, and shore up what's been the problem in years 1 and 2. And yeah, I think if you're a Minnesota United fan, you should absolutely enjoy that. And if you're a player, you should be enjoying it as well. And it sounded like our guy Francisco is.
Pura Vida.
Pura Vida. But Vancouver, San Jose, not great teams.
Yeah,
not great teams
for sure.
So I consider the sample size, consider the opposition, but this does. I mean, I'm buying a little bit of stock. This absolutely feels like a team that should be in the mix to compete to get into the playoffs.
Let me ask this: 5 games to start the year before they go home on the road. Preseason, what would you have said Minnesota needs to be, in an okay place to make a playoff race after those first 5 games?
6 or 7 points.
So they're already at 6.
Yeah.
Now look, Bruce McGuire, do know they did this contest among Minnesota United fans, and he's eliminating people as it goes along. And he tweeted out today that most everybody in this contest is already eliminated after 2 games. 6 points for them. The Loons now have the Galaxy at New England, at the Red Bulls. Then April 13th, they're home to NYCFC. Okay, let's turn to FC Cincinnati. Kenny Saief is a guy we've been following from a long way away for a while now. He is on the line. Kenny, how you doing, man?
Hey, how are you guys?
How's it feel, man? The very first appearance, one of the first plays, the first result the club gets against the defending champions, and you're there pulling the strings. That's got to be a dream start.
Yeah, actually, it was a good game. Actually, the start of the game was a bit difficult, but within the game, we start playing better, and the guys give them more confidence. And actually, it was great team spirit. We worked for each other, and yeah, we were very happy that we could take a point there.
It's been a hectic few weeks for you. Let's start from the beginning. How'd you end up in Cincinnati? How did this move come through, and then you jump right out on the field and you get it done?
Well, it started like 2.5 weeks ago, not so long ago, and in the beginning I was a bit like, I don't know if I'll do this, but once Luke came to Belgium, something inside me say this is the right place, I think, to be at. And honestly, I don't regret anything right now. I'm really happy here. They welcome me amazingly. And yeah, I hope that I can help the team to do better in the future. So
we always hear about the influence that members of a club can have on new signings, the faith that you need to have to uproot your life and go somewhere else, in this case, Cincinnati. What did Luke Susannah do? What were the conversations like? What was so powerful for you?
I heard about the ambitions of the club. It's just like it's like I think 4 years since they begin, and they're already in the MLS. And when I sit with Luke and he explained me about the plans they're having for the future, it was just like, yeah, it's great, it's great. And something inside me, like I said, it's like, yeah, these guys are really motivated to put this club on the map in the MLS, and they're doing everything to help the city, the team, and yeah, they put the belief in me that something can happen, and yeah, I'm very happy to be here. I hope I can help them to put this club on the map and to do well in the MLS. So.
One of the things we hear a lot with players when they move clubs is a guarantee or a promise of where they stand, what position they are. We've seen you play left mid, attacking mid. We've heard about you playing left back. Was that part of the conversation with Luke of where you'd play in this team, and where do you see yourself in your best position?
I mean, like, wherever the coach will give me to play, I'll just do my best for the team and try to help the team to win each game. And I don't really mind where to play. I just want to help the team to get the points and to win the game. So
that draw felt like a win. You mentioned the team camaraderie there, and this is the first result in club history, again against the defending champions, in front of thousands and thousands and thousands of people in Mercedes-Benz Stadium. What was that feeling like, knowing that you quieted the crowd, knowing that the pass that you made, the performance your team had, was going to be the story of week 2?
Yeah, well, it was kind of a bit pressure that, you know, playing for 7,000 and blah, blah, blah. But I'm kind of used to this kind of pressure. So for me, it feels like just one more game, you know. It doesn't matter if it's Atlanta or any other team. We just had to do our jobs and, you know, to work, like I said, to work for each other and just to have the belief that we can do something there. And I'm very happy that the guys did their job and they did believe that we can do something. And yeah, they could see that even against Atlanta and 70,000 people watching, it's still possible to do something. So yeah, I'm very happy that we could take a point there.
All right, let's talk U.S. national team, Kenny. You repped Israel at youth levels. You even had 2 friendlies as a full national teamer. Then you filed the full-time switch to the U.S. Can I just get the story from you about how that all happened and why you made that decision?
Yeah, well, you know, I've been born in the state, and it feels for me like it's a really big honor to represent the country. The football here is much better. Also, the soccer here is much better than in Israel. And for me, it's kind of like honor to represent a country where there's so many millions living in. And yeah, it's just like something inside me said, yeah, I wanna represent the U.S. So.
New coach taking over in Greg Berhalter. Have you had conversations with him since he's taken over? Have you talked about coming to MLS with him?
No, I didn't talk to him yet.
Do you feel like any part of this move, because Greg was a head coach in this league, he just left Columbus Crew SC, might be a good way to catch his attention? I mean, you have the Gold Cup coming up this summer. You've got the Hex. You made a couple starts last year and showed pretty well in those games.
Yeah, I'll be happy. Of course, I'll be happy to be in the national team. But now I'm focused really on doing well with my team. And if I'll get a chance to be back in the national team, then yeah, I'll be very happy. And it's always an honor to represent the country. So.
What's your take on the talent pool, on this new young generation you were a part of, and on the field with Christian Pulisic and Tim Weah and Tyler Adams and Matt Miazga and so many others? What did you see in the camps that you've been in?
A lot of quality, to be honest. A lot of quality. I see a big future for this team. It's great. Also, great dressing room. A lot of guys are really motivated to make it to the top, and yeah, I see a big future for this national team. I mean, the national team is still young, but you can see from game to game, they are improving more and more. So yeah, I see a big future, let's say, for this national team. A lot of quality.
All right, Kenny, we've talked about the soccer stuff, but on this show, every chance I get, I talk about either hummus or I talk about falafel. But my other true passion is, of course, Barekas. I've heard your Drews. I'm pretty sure the only Drews restaurant in the entire United States, Gazala Place in New York City. Let me welcome you. Achi, come with me. Bruchim habayim. Let's go get some Drews food.
Let's do it.
Yes.
Welcome. Sure.
Awesome.
ETR history, greatest interview ever.
Kenny Saief is coming to New York City to eat Drews with Dave, and I'm tagging along. Kenny, good luck in Cincinnati, man. Good luck with the U.S. national team. We really appreciate you taking the time, man.
Thank you very much, guys. Thank you. Appreciate that.
Back now in Extra Time, driven by Continental. We are making plans. Get it on your calendar.
Eating Drew's food, by the way, because I think you had me and Kenny eating human beings.
What?
At the end of that
No,
interview.
I wasn't saying you're going to eat Drew's. You're going to
yeah.
You know.
Fantastic group of people.
That was a classic Goss. Just classic.
Yes, it was
very
It was
exciting.
Goss in every way.
Yeah.
It was awesome. Ben Bear is here for the mailbag. Of course, Bobby Warshaw has moved on to do other things. Susannah Collins will join us again on Thursday. He's got stuff to do, man. He's a busy guy. Other things to do on Thursday. Of course, every week on on Monday, we reveal the winner of our ETR Fantasy League. And this week it is, I just have a last name. So Jones, Field Operations is the name of his team.
Smart.
He's a Crew fan.
I think this might be one of the all-time MLS fantasy legends.
Oh, yeah?
What?
Yeah, he's like really good.
Obviously,
I have to confirm
to win our
that.
league, you got to be the best.
Yeah, he's
to win our league, you got to be the best.
Ours is the hardest league.
Yes, it is obviously the hardest.
Does that mean
league.
drawing?
That means here on Mondays.
Last week,
we get out
a
the
Red Bull
black.
fan got a signed Bill Hamid.
Yeah, I was here. I was
he was
sitting
there,
right here
We
when
get
that
out a
happened.
black
Where were
trash
you at?
bag. We rummage around. Jones will have this prize for his glory in the MLS Extra Time Fantasy League. What do we got here for him? An RSL
We're
jersey
here for RSL.
signed by Albert Rusnak.
Pretty good.
So hey, you know,
Here
that's a
at the Roosnack, the
Yes.
battle pit.
These microphones are apparently very good for singing. That's a beautiful jersey. Hope it's a women's jersey. That's okay. It's got a giant signature on it. So
Who signed it, Roosnack?
Yeah, Albert Rusnak.
Nice.
Who
Yeah,
got
he has a very large signature.
Yeah, he does.
He knows
what's
branding.
up. Exactly.
He knows what he's doing. Ben, how'd you do in fantasy this weekend?
I did pretty good.
Yeah? Did you win all your games?
I didn't win all my matchups.
Did you play me?
I beat the other Fantasy United FC host.
Weird. So it sounds like I should host Fantasy United
Maybe.
FC.
Based off of 1 week, yeah, definitely. That's 100%.
Speaking of hosts, we got a lot of great feedback. Christopher and BK just listened to Thursday's podcast, cannot express how stoked I am about Susannah joining the team. I almost dropped my phone in surprise when I heard good, reasonable takes come through my headphones during an episode of Extra Time. We got another one. Congrats on Susannah joining the crew. That Thursday episode is going to be fire. And then we've got Perry in Portland who said, okay, to all Atlanta Twitter users, just relax. It's not like you have 12 road games to start the year off with, okay? It's a long season. We both have time to right the ship. Also, Susannah Collins will outshine you, Weeby, all the time.
Let me get into this. Are you and Susannah going to have like a Broadway thing happening? Because we all know Suze is an actress. I mean, she's
also talented.
She's also talented. So you're not going to try.
We could do references, but I'm not going to like go out there and start singing on
Gotcha.
you.
You're more of an audience guy rather than an on-stage
But I was
guy.
hoping you guys could do a duet of Schadenfreude from Avenue Q.
Fair one. That's a great song.
First of all, it's a great song. Second of all, Weeby on Matchday Central. Weeby on Matchday Central last night pronounced it Schadenfreude.
Yeah, I noticed that when I was watching at home. I was like,
I'm
a little concerned about the
I honestly want to use this show just to correct Weeby's pronunciations from the night before, because he can't do it on Matchday Central.
Monday morning
That's very
quarterback.
professional.
Yeah. And look, if you're not watching Matchday Central, do it to see what Doyle's going to bank for Monday's podcast, but also do it because it's 45 minutes every Sunday after the final game, all the highlights, news, analysis. Last night we had Luchi Gonzalez interview. We had a lot of the sound you're hearing today.
And you know what else we had around the league? Schadenfreude.
Yeah, some Schadenfreude was very rampant.
I'm sure Luchi was pretty disappointed that Gas wasn't.
Yeah, me and Luchi are like this.
Because they're
Don't worry.
literally best friends.
We're almost at GA Cup
We're almost there. We're almost there.
Say hi to the guys, and I knew he just meant Dave.
Yeah,
He meant Gas. Yeah, I was watching. I was like, he definitely means Gas. Gas isn't there.
Taylor from Switzerland here, taking us through the errors. Fantastic new signing in Susannah Collins. ETR 1.0, the Simon Borg error. Erratic, sometimes unsettling, but raw potential. If only they had a decent coach.
Jam spoons.
Actually,
ETR,
that's 2.0 because 1.0 is
Sagini and Lawless arguing for 4 hours.
Sagini is the definition of ETR 1.0. I just want to say that right now because I know he's probably listening and or watching.
ETR, he's probably only watching this one clip. ETR 2.0, the Ben Bear era. Rise of Matt Doyle as the premier soccer columnist for all things U.S. soccer. Ben Bear actually did statistics and riled up listeners with decent takes. And Ben's before suffering a career-altering injury by losing his prediction mojo.
Ben has never recovered from that Sounders prediction in 2016.
Just for the record,
has never recovered.
Just for the record, I picked Minnesota to make the playoffs. Looking pretty.
Have they made it? Are you spiking the ball on the 30-yard line?
No,
just like Adrian Heath?
I heard you. No, I'm not doing that. I'm just saying.
Jets fan.
It's looking okay. Oh yeah, because Jet fans definitely do that. Do you have any idea what the psyche of a Jet fan is?
This was your opportunity to see.
Do you have any idea what the psyche of a Jet fan is? It's the exact opposite of that.
The psyche of Jet fan is we go in the prevent defense in like the third quarter, and everyone's like, we know this is ruined.
We know this is gonna end.
They don't kill off the game with 60 straight passes. Not like Luchi's FC Dallas.
3.0 on ETR, the Bobby Warshire. Bobby infuriates the masses by ruining their idealistic view of soccer, players being only what they can be boiled down to on FIFA video games. At the same time, the crew hits their stride with a more well-rounded view of the game and those who play it. And then 4.0, Susannah Collins brought in as a DP signing to bring the show to the next level.
Can I go all the way back to the Bobby Warshaw 3.0 era? And can we imagine what a podcasting video game might rate Bobby Warshaw? In what areas might he be rated highly, and in what areas might he be rated low?
Silence, he'd be a 10 out of 10.
Yeah, body language, 0 out of 10. Yeah. He's like P.T. Martinez.
He's practically asleep. He's like to the side of the microphone, like hanging his head.
The ability to actually say something definitive. That's a 1.
Yeah, but do we really know?
Do we really know if he's good?
Say something definitive.
Actually, can I just jump in here? Is that even the right question? I think we should be asking a completely different question that I'll bring up halfway through the next email.
Well, to answer something from last segment.
Yeah, there you go.
So do you want an actual question now so you have a chance to Bobby on me? We had a question here that said, you can't say this often, but Portland are not the best transition attacking team in their match. How much of this is LAFC being good yesterday on the break, and how much is this Portland being slow to transition into defense?
I mean, I don't know if I 100% agree with the premise. I honestly thought for the first 60 minutes, Portland were very good and very dangerous going forward. I picked LAFC to win the Shield, and for the last 40 minutes of that game, they looked like a team that should be there in the Shield race. They have a ton of talent. Yeah, they have a ton of talent.
I think Portland will be really good for large portions of that game, and I think they kind of once the third goal went in, I think they kind of packed up shop a little bit. And, pat their bags.
You're saying shop. I thought you were saying something else. Okay,
here.
all right.
Yeah, no, I think they look pretty good. And, they're playing on the road at LAFC. Crowd was lit, as some would say. It's tough. I think they'll be fine.
Early MVP of supporters sections. I'm not saying they're the most. They're a contender. It's LAFC's. They're crushing it. It looks really fun.
I might have watched Will Ferrell doing the Jump Fairly Football Club video about 20 times between last night and
just that we have a Will Ferrell jumping for Major League Soccer things video is that's awesome.
Yeah.
On the other side of LA, Mike from South Carolina here with a warm take. Zlatan misses 8 to 10 games this season. The Galaxy get 0 wins in the games he does not play.
Well, if only Bobby was here for that one.
Yeah, we're missing out there. The puzzlement on his face.
It's
the
kind of
frustration.
Are we sure that the Galaxy are a better team, are not a better team without Zlatan?
Honestly, this is such a dunk on poor Ethan Zubak, who was just signed and made his debut this weekend. Now, look, they missed Zlatan a lot. The team, everything they do offensively is going to run through him. But it's worth remembering they also lost Roman Alessandrini for this game, and Joe Corona, Sebastian Lletget, Jonathan Dos Santos, first time they've ever played together.
We are running out of time.
Sorry, 1 second. Doyle, do you think Mike from South Carolina would do double or nothing on that bet in terms of Zlatan being better or not?
No. Bobby does not.
It's like a 53-47 chance, I would say, of that. Before we get out of here, we do have an important news announcement, some promotional information related to One Bin Bear here. The Spit and Fire podcast is the new...
I would say it's the most important podcast in the world.
It's the new IT podcast in Major League Soccer and or podcasting. It is, you guys are changing the game a minute at a time.
Yeah, it's Twitter only. We're promising that there'll be classics every single episode. We do have a special episode coming out, episode 4 in a couple weeks. That's going to be a special one. But yeah, I highly
predetermined episode 4.
Very, very special one. Ben is such a team
that's what you
player.
get with Spinning Fire. We already know what the special ones are going to be.
Ben is such a team player. They didn't even mention his co-host,
Mark McClure, who's the brains and everything behind it.
The actual talent
behind Major League Soccer.
No, but the takes come from one person. But yes.
Can I throw one last little note out there? I will be gone next week.
Yeah.
I will be off the grid. I need someone to run my fantasy team. So mailbag on Thursday, send me the reason why you should run my fantasy team, and I will send you my username and password, and you will run it for me.
Sorry, what?
For 2 straight weekends.
Nice.
This can't possibly go wrong.
I like that. Hey, on Thursday as well, we've
Appeal
got
to me.
Reasonable takes.
We should actually do that
with
every
background.
week.
I actually should.
Well, he basically does.
Don't
he
like
just lets
Rent it out. Susannah Collins will be here on Thursday. We'll have another big show. CCL Fever.
Ben's already done with Weavy, and it's week 2.
Or may not have broken. Ben Bear, thanks for coming along for the ride here. Francisco Calvo, he was a great interview. Kenny Saief, maybe we'll see him with the U.S. We will see you on Thursday. Have a good week, everybody.